So we'll continue on the Song of Enlightenment, Song of Awakening. The Chan Master Yongjia. The section that we're on is on post-awakening practice or way of being. And awakening in this sense, we spoke about it last time, more in depth. It means to be free from vexations, emotional afflictions, and to begin the process of amplifying the potential of who we are, right? Wisdom and compassion. Okay. So tonight I've chosen two verses. I've skipped a few in between. These two are perhaps more important. Last week we spoke about awakening from the slumber of self-referential, self-centered habit tendencies, right? And many people have erroneous ideas of awakening, enlightenment. This is a common term shared by different spiritual traditions. So they ascribe different meaning to that. Right? In the Buddhist sense, is to be free from self-referential tendencies. Right? Now that the reason for that is the main culprit that prevents and hinders our potential for wisdom and compassion is this perpetual sense of me, I, mine, the center of everything. The space that we're in, the relationship that we're in, or the world that we're living, whatever position that you take. So the sense of subjectivity is natural. It's a natural byproduct of our neurological functioning. Right? Those of you who want to explore this further, I've talked about this quite a bit. And also there's a lot of literature on this. Right? So the problem here is mistaking this byproduct of subjectivity as some kind of fixed, unchanging, independent entity. Whereas the truth is fluid, infinite possibilities, interdependent. We live in relationships. Right? So why will we kind of reify that which is fluid to be something fixed? Me, I, mine. This habit tendency, grasping. So once that is diminished through practice and through correctly reflecting on our relationship with others, then the self-referencing will begin to transform, begin to change the relationship that we have with ourselves and the world. And the different knots that we have start to free up, and then possibilities will come. It's like doing things in a fixed way. But once you kind of relax that a bit, then you can see interconnections. You can see new ways of doing things. And here on out, we begin to talk about that way of being. How does it relate to us? We may not be awakened yet, but it's very beneficial because this serves as a principle as a compass, sort of not judge ourselves in practice, of understanding how we can bring ourselves in alignment with what is possible. What is possible? A life without guilt. A life of compassion and wisdom. So this is something that's within all of us. So I'll read the verse. This is Tang Dynasty text. We're talking about 9th, 10th century. So it makes use of allusions and metaphors and so on. So here's the text. The moon illuminates, and the wind breezes through pines. What is there to do on a long, pleasant night? Isn't that nice? Buddha nature and the precept jewel are sealed in your mind ground. Fog, dew, rosy clouds are now your garments. I'll explain that. The next verse that I have to talk about is not seeking the true, not rejecting the false, realizing that both are empty, without form. Not form, not emptiness, not non-emptiness. This is the true reality of the Tathagata, the Buddha. Okay. So how does a person carry himself or herself in daily life? Someone who has seen their true self-nature in a deep, profound way. A way that's not just a glimpse, like I spoke about last time, but a transformative. That person's sense of gaining, losing, grasping, rejecting, greed, aversion, these polarizing tendencies which centers on self-referencing begin to crumble and spring forth the most natural, full potential of who we are as a human being. And that is the function of wisdom and compassion naturally. Wisdom here does not mean all of a sudden the person becomes intelligent. Right? Compassion does not mean you let everyone walk over you. Right? Wisdom means no vexations. The functioning, the poisons of greed, hatred, ignorance doesn't arise. Even if it arises, it doesn't manifest. Right? So it depends on the depth of the awakening. If the depth is shallow, that person may still break precepts. If it's intermediary, then it's like a volcano inside, all the lava, crap, stuff. There's a cap to it now. So the volcano is not active anymore. So the speech and action doesn't actually harm people. Right? For a fully awakened one, then no lava anymore. Right? So, but even for a person who have a substantial awakening experiences, there's still things to do. But because of the polarizing tendency based on self-referencing, it's drastically transformed and diminished. Therefore, they're very natural, and they carry themselves through daily life in a way that's natural. What I mean by natural is when self-referencing manifests, me, I, my, in the center of everything, greed, hatred, ignorance, vexations come, it becomes so unnatural for them. So unnatural for them. It's like stepping on thorns. Now, I know there are religions that, shamanic practices that they practice a way so they can step on thorns so they don't feel anything. But for Chan Zen practitioners, it's unnatural for them to behave, carry themselves in a self-referential way. Very awkward for them, like stepping on thorns. So we want to avoid stepping on thorns, right? Yeah. Unless, of course, you're one of those shamanic practitioners, you can step on fire. So what is natural for them is to be in alignment with freedom, unburdened by vexations. Right? Like what? Like the function of the moon. What is the function of the moon? In an unscientific way. Just illuminate, right? The moon just reflects. Reflects what? Like the sunlight. You know, I'm being scientific again. It's like the sunlight and the moon just reflects, right? The moon illuminates. What's the function of wind? It blows. It breathes through the pines. That's the meaning of the first line. The moon illuminates. The wind breezes through the pine. This translating to the activity of an awakened person, which we can use as a principle guide for our practice, is that the person is uncontrived, unpretentious. The moon illuminates brilliantly in its luminosity, yet it has no awareness that, hey, I'm shining pretty bright tonight. No awareness, no pretension. The wind naturally functions, blowing through the pines. That's what it does. Just like a person who manifests wisdom has no idea of wisdom. If we have attachment or idea, hey, I'm pretty wise, I'm very compassionate, that's a big sense of self. Right? So when the self is diminished, other people may perceive the person has wisdom. Other people may perceive the person is very kind. But there's no self-referencing. So it's just like the wind blows, the moon shines. Right? So translating that to our daily life, when we engage in different actions, benefiting oneself or others, be aware of self-referential thoughts. What needs to be done, what can be done, we just do it. If things can't be done, the causes and conditions are not ripe yet, then it can't be done. There's no need to lament, feel guilty. Guilty is also self-referencing. Even a person may feel very humble. Oh, you know, I'm a nobody. You know, you should do it. I'm no good. Self-attachment is still there. The sense of self is still there. Do you believe it? You know, so being unselfish has nothing to do with humbleness or not. Of course, it doesn't manifest as arrogance, obviously. Right? So self-referencing functions very subtly. So when things need to be done, people need to be helped. We just help. We don't put ourselves in the center of it. Help so I can get something from return. Maybe I help him, help her. Maybe they can, give back to me someday. See that block out of the way. Get it out of the way. So very natural. Does the wind and the moon calculate? If I blow very strong tonight, maybe the pines will have a melody and it'll make me feel so good, really good. Or the moon shines, look at me. I'm illuminating and reflecting on all the surface of the water in the globe. How great that is. No. Self-consciousness, absent. Self-referencing, absent. But the mind is fully functional. It functions much, much more efficient and better than the mind that's cluttered, fragmented, cloudy, sleepy. Right? It sees exactly the workings of causes and conditions, what needs to be done. People that are suffering, they not only respond on the surface level, but because the self is out of the way, they can respond in a way that's appropriate. Entering the hearts of people, see what needs to be done. Does that make sense? Right, so that's the meaning of the first line. So the principle for us is be vigilant of this. Self-referencing is always going to process the things in a self-referential way. Right? A good way to do that is, when we say, what does it mean then? Since it's so subtle, what does it mean when Buddha Dharma talks about no self? It's not vacuity. There's something very concrete that you can actually keep an eye out for. Would you like to know? I've been repeating this every talk. The sense of, so what do we keep track of? How do we apply that clarity gained through meditation? We're clear of what? However subtle, the sense of gaining and losing. Success, failure. Existent, non-existent, or absent. Good and bad. It's not to say there are no social consensus of what's good and bad. Of course there are. We're not oblivious. But here is talking about the self-referential gauge in which we interact with people. Does that make sense? Right. If I'm friends with him, maybe I can get something in return. This person is no use to me. I'll talk to someone that's more useful. You see? These type of calculative, discriminatory things that's happening. That's the block. That is the cause of suffering for ourselves and others. Inevitably, whatever actions that stem from that, it's like a thorn. First person it hurts is ourselves. We step on it, and then we want to spread the pain, vexations. That's why the world is suffering. Everyone functions from their own self-referential gain and loss in deciding things. If we want to translate that to social life, politics. Human beings, we can politicize everything, including other people's health. We can politicize it. For my election next time. Pitiable. Pitiable. But in non-political realm, we politicize things all the time. In the center of that is a sense of control. That's another thing to watch out for. The sense of control. Right? So, moon, wind, do they have a sense of control? Right, so, Yongjia is using this metaphor to kind of articulate that which is unfathomable, because we're so conditioned to, we're reared in a way to be selfish, right? Self-referential. So we're so conditioned, we've forgotten that we're already free. We've forgotten our inheritance. This is our true inheritance. So if a person is free from this, the gaining, losing, having, lacking, success, failure, calculative, discriminatory mind, then what is there to do on a long, pleasant night? Observing the moon, feeling the breeze. Vacation. Okay? So sometimes I speak about Chan practice as not like discipline or gaining something, but vacation mind. Remember? Our retreats I speak about that. Vacation from what? Not your work, not your obligations, fortunately or unfortunately, right? Vacation from self-referencing, the cause of anguish, vexations. Man, how delightful, unburdened by that. Vacation mind. So, you're at peace. Third line, Buddha nature and the precept jewel are sealed in your mind ground. How can it be sealed? Because this transformative awakening experiences again and again and again and again. It's nothing mystical. It's just an alignment, realignment with who we truly are. What is Buddha nature referring to? Yes, the textbook version is the Buddha within. I have a couple of students from FSU here. What's Buddha nature? Yeah, it's a test.
Buddha nature is the capacity of all beings to realize their inherent awakened state, free from discriminations and gaining loss and those things.
Excellent. What a good student. You get an A. Tomorrow's the midterm review. One extra credit point for you, right? Buddha nature, the Buddha within. Buddha means awake, the awakened nature within. Right? That's the textbook version. Here, it's coupled with precept. This awakened nature and precept together constitute the whole of Buddhahood, the expression and manifestation of Buddhahood, which means the actions of body, speech, and mind. Precept here deals with the actions of speech and action. And the mind is awakening. Right? So, all the expressions of body, speech, and mind. And this is the task of Chan practitioners. We align ourselves the Buddha nature, at the minimum level, no vexations. Or from the practice perspective, we're vigilant, right? Watchful of those discriminatory, vexing tendencies. Allow them to release in their own accord, to allow the freedom to manifest. That's the wisdom part. And in terms of our actions, the precept, these three, body, speech, and mind actions, is imprinted on the mind ground, or the full potential. Now, precept here does not mean itemize individual practices of discipline. To summarize, we can say they express the three cumulative pure precepts. That is, the manifestation or the cultivation of all virtue. The diminishing or transcending of all harm. And lastly, the compassion. The liberation of all beings. These are called three cumulative pure precepts within the Mahayana tradition. So it doesn't cover, so it's not limited to like individual precepts, like the 5 precepts or the 10 precepts or the 225 precepts. It's beyond that, especially the last one, saving all beings. So this makes it the heart and soul of a Buddha. Full manifestation of wisdom, compassion in action. I have a series of talks on precepts. It's not finished yet due to the pandemic, but we'll resume maybe next year. The talk is on Bodhisattva precepts. You can watch those videos. So Buddha nature and precept jewels are sealed within your mind ground. Fog, dew, like the morning dew, rosy clouds are now your garments. So it's using analogies of nature to talk about this, but what is fog, dew, and rosy clouds? They represent things that are impermanent. For example, like fog, right? And the morning dew. As soon as the sun really, maybe 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and the dew will disappear, evaporate. So all things that are impermanent are now your garments. They shelter you, they protect you. Things that are impermanent are not something. Things are impermanent, meaning the world. It's not something to run away from, to shun, to escape from. But these become sources, resources, you see? Resources to help yourself and help other people. So you're no longer afraid of them. Okay? So this is a very different mentality than someone who practices meditation as an escapist route from the hustle and bustle of daily life. They get their zap of bliss and they have to go back to work again. Right? No, the work is your arena for manifesting, cultivating your practice. Why? Without all the difficulties, challenges that kind of brings about this habitual tendency of self-attachment, self-referencing, how will we ever know? Right? So the difficulties that we face the challenges that we face, the annoying people, all the different ups and downs of life. They reveal our path. Our responses unfold what needs to be done, what can be done. Right? Difficulties come, criticisms come. Like I said, self-attachment, self-referencing is habit tendency, right? So what would the habit be? Come out. How dare you? Fighting type, or you're right. I am worthless. Right? Self-disparaging type. Whatever habit tendency manifests, this continual selfing unfolds the areas that we need to work on. Release. Right? Before we do that, we have to see it. Right? How do you see it if you don't meet difficulties? Right? So that process of exposing, embracing. Embracing means accepting. This is you. Thank you for screaming at me or presenting a problem. Right? So that kind of, the lava, right? Settles down, right? So exposing, embracing, transforming, release. Right? It's not a linear process. It's a reciprocal. Right? They become your garment. They shield you from the harshness of the sun. Right? Like clothing. Protect you from the elements. So this first 4-line verse is using nature metaphor. Last 4. Not seeking the truth, not rejecting the false. Realizing that both are empty without form, yet no form, not emptiness, and not non-emptiness. That's the true reality of Tathagata. This is Yongjia's tip or litmus test for how to be vigilant in daily life. I've given you other, like gaining, losing, success, failure, having, lacking, good and bad, all these things. He just gave you a few. And the ones that he gave you are, he gave you 2 only. But the ones that he gave you, he gives us, are the core. What are they? Seeking, rejecting. That is the direct manifestation of the 3 poisons. Greed, hatred, ignorance. No wisdom. Right? Selfing. Right? So because the self is blocked there, and to varying degrees, we'll have some kind of greed, longing, craving. It's not to say, a lot of people when they hear this say, should we not have any seeking then? No. No. This refers to seeking and rejecting, getting something, getting rid of something that generates vexations. And that's rooted in the perpetuating of self-referencing, self-attachment. We can have seeking. You have a job. You get a degree. You're supposed to go after a job. You're supposed to try your best. You're supposed to, let go of the shortcomings, right? Rejecting things that are not productive, not efficient. You're supposed to do that. It's your job. Right? But if they start to generate vexations, right? Especially in interpersonal relationship, I'm going to step over him or her in order to get what I want, then that's harmful suffering. Cause for yourself and for others. That's the thorn that we step on. So, not seeking the truth, as if there's a reified thing called truth out there. What's the problem with that? When we see something out there as worthy, true, already we're denying here. Because I want that. At the same time that I want this, that means I don't have it. That's not the awakened view. Awakened view is I'm already free. Yet, free myself from the clutter that prevents this freedom from manifesting. See, so not seeking, very important. Some people practice, and the whole reason they practice is to seek some kind of awakening, enlightenment experience. They will never do it. Why? Because they are continuing self-denial. When we seek after something, simultaneously we're denying that we don't have it now. So it's like a dog chasing the tail. Of course you never get it. Does that make sense? So seeking, the more you seek, the further away you are from who we truly are. Then most people take the other extreme. Well, I just don't seek then. Do nothing then. I'll just hang out and sleep. Right? That's just, hang out and sleep and just in the slumber of delusion. That's not the way to go either. Right? People talk to you kind of foggy. Not that kind of foggy mind, right? Like real fog, right? That's not the way to go either. That's why. Neither form, nor emptiness, nor non-emptiness. Non-seeking, right? Nothing to attain. That's the correct view. Nor is there a vacuity, emptiness. Nothing to attain, that means vacuity. Not that either. Right? Nothing to attain, no seeking, yet diligent. What needs to be done, what can be done. No self-attachment. That's the meaning of no form, no empty, voidness, and not non-emptiness. So this is kind of irrational. Usually people think, okay, if I don't do this, if it's not A, it must be B. Right? Not A, not B, not non-B. Right? So don't seek. Don't sit there like a stupor, sitting there rotting, and diligent. That's the way to practice. Right? Diligent what? Manifesting in wisdom and compassion. What's the hindrance? Seeking and rejecting. Or, like I usually say, gaining, losing, sense of success and failure, sense of having, a lack, right? Self and others. Right? This kind of judgments, discrimination. You're so much more than that. There's so much more to all of us. We're not limited by this. Right? Once these things become to subside, then the connection that we feel with people, the compassion that arises, unconditioned, not calculative, and the troubles that we feel no longer troubling to us because we're not couched in them anymore. Prior to practice, we We're so locked onto our own thinking and feeling. We can't feel something otherwise. The more we practice, we're not tied to that anymore. So that kind of freedom, that's the true reality of the Tathagata. That's an epithet for Buddha. Who is the Tathagata? No, don't say, no, I'm just beginning. You have to say, Tathagata. Tathagata, yet with vexations, right? So, the jewel that's within, it's not the vexations, it's not the emotional affliction. That's not who you are. That's what confines you. Who you are, Buddha. Fulfillment of your wisdom and compassion. Capiche? So tonight, any questions? Yes, Brett?
You describe having compassion to others without allowing yourself to be a doormat. What are some markers, or how do you know when you've crossed the line between not standing up for yourself to people and not being combative or having compassion for people?
We have to, yeah. What is the line? Let me repeat for the Zoomers. What is the line of compassion when we know that perhaps we've crossed the line, or that we can do something to ourselves, overexert ourselves perhaps? We have to look within. Right? Each and every one of us. Yes, we're Buddhas, but each and every one of us in this moment in time, station of life, we're limited in capacity. Right? So we don't I have to be compassionate, so I have to exhaust myself, offering myself to others. You have to be honest, ruthlessly honest with ourselves. Right? No one else is watching. No one else is judging. What is it that I could do in this situation? And maybe I have a family, I have this, I gotta take care of the family. Right? Does that make sense? So, using this principle, translated to your own life, taking into consideration with common sense what needs to be done, what can be done. It's a sliding scale. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, and we change all the time. But what we used to be able to do last year may be different this year. You see? Last week may be different than this week. And when you sense within yourself resistance, so that's where clarity comes in. Clarity that we cultivate in practice. So you see, is that an excuse? Right? Or have I reached the limit? Don't use a ruler external to yourself to judge yourself. Then it becomes some kind of Buddhist fundamentalism. So the gauge is here. Vexations is here. Wisdom, compassion is here. So you have to really be ruthlessly honest with yourself. So honesty is very important. Okay, I could do more. Right? I could do more. Or if I do more, my back is going to go out. I can't do so many things at the same time. So we have to be honest with ourselves. That's the best judgment. Yeah? And every circumstance is different. Each of your life, different patterns of your life unfold in different ways. See? Different circumstances. So the clarity is very important. Clarity. Now, if we are so used to vexations that we don't know what vexations are, that's the problem. That could be a problem. Right? It's just like an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. No, or a liar, right? Lie so much they can't really tell the difference. Then there's a problem there. Right? So our practice is to, the first step, expose, embrace, transform, and release, right? The exposing part is to be ever more familiar with the workings of self-referential things. So you become very sensitive to that. Like the thorn that I was talking about. Now, if a person has, experienced awakenings, then they actually personally tasted the state without vexations. So when vexations are present, it's like a thorn. Like they know it's present. Right? But for us who haven't experienced full awakening, but we're practitioners. Right? The more and more we practice, the more we know within ourselves our hang-ups, our limits, our particular patterns, right? And workings of vexations. So we can still know. So don't think of, it's like either or. Either I get enlightened or practice is useless. No. Along the way, we become more and more human, become more and more embodied, free from that which kind of causes anguish within us and others. See, that's the usefulness. Right? So sometimes we find that resistance, and we have to, just one more. When I was younger, I used to do bench press. Right? So every time someone spot me, when I'm limit, one more. Actually, your muscles start to grow when it becomes sore. Did you all know that? Like when you stop at your sore, it doesn't really build muscle. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the way to build muscles, you have to rip the muscles and then sleep a lot, eat a lot, so when it grows back, your pecs becomes bigger. You actually rip the muscles. So sometimes you have to push yourself a little bit. But don't push too much. You push too much, then we snap, break. Right? So you don't want that. Right? But just a little bit. Rip it a little bit. It comes back stronger. Okay. I haven't bench pressing a long time. I'm pretty weak now. So, but we can stretch the muscles of our mind. Stretch it a little bit. Vexations, we definitely want to stretch it. Overcome that. Actually, I'm not sure where this metaphor is going. Wisdom, we want to stretch. Vexations, we want to leave it alone. We don't want to stretch it. Okay? Otherwise, it becomes stronger when it comes back. So, muscles, wisdom and compassion. Okay? Vexations, how would I use that metaphor?
Let it atrophy.
Atrophy, let it shrink. So it withers away. All right, thank you. Any other questions? So tonight, we know why we sit, right? Not like I want to become a block of wood. No thought. It's not that, right? We know why we sit. The importance of concentration and clarity will come in handy later. Right? Especially the beginning process of building a new relationship to all the things that's happening here. Right? You don't follow it. You don't reject it. You don't follow it. You come back to the method. That simple practice coming very handy. When vexations come, I don't have to follow it. Whereas before, you have no choice. You think of something bad, you just become that. You think of something depressed, you're going to start taking antidepressant. Whereas negative thinking, self-disparaging, wandering thoughts. I don't have to follow that. Go back to what needs to be done. You see? It's very useful. Very useful. Meditation practice. But practice in daily life, we use the principle of the moon and the wind. Right? Anything that's contrary to that unnaturalness of self-referencing, constantly getting ourselves in the way of blocking things, and filtering things, and it's unnatural. Right? Be natural. The moon and the breeze. Body, speech, and mind, in accordance with wisdom, which is no vexations, compassion, selfless action. That's the Buddha nature and precept. Allow that to imprint on our mental continuum. Right? And everywhere you go, you are the moon. You bring luminosity to the space that you're in. You're like the spring breeze. You interact with people, you don't want anything from them. Whereas most people out there, they're always trying to get something out of us. Right? So you become the moon. You become the spring breeze. Everywhere you go, people are delighted and you're free. Without self-consciousness. Like, I'm the moon. I'm the breeze tonight. Right? No self-awareness. There is no breeze. To you, there is no breeze. Just very natural. See? So, lately I'm on this project of Dharma Relief 2. Dharma Relief 1 was the masks, right? What needs to be done, what can't be done. Dharma Relief 2, as you know, healing racial relations, racism, right? More complicated. So interacting with people, practitioners, so when certain people, all their lives, they have been exploited, chastised, othered, marginalized, criminalized, even though you may just be walking down the street. Right? And when someone comes, I want to amplify, support them. There's suspicion, doubt. Why do you want to help us? Right? So I experienced that. I'm not getting anything out of it. Just doing what needs to be done, because this is not acceptable. That people, because the color of their skin, have to suffer, have to experience life in a certain way. Not acceptable. It contributes to the harm of the society as a whole. For all race. So what needs to be done, what can be done, we do it. So it's not doing anything to gain some reward or reciprocity. It's just doing it. It's what can be done. Now, if we can't do it, Somehow we can't do this. The causes and conditions are not ripe. Then we can't do it. But we know we tried our best. All of you know we're doing this DR2, right? Dharma Relief 2. How many of you do not know? Okay. It's another non-profit organization that I've set up. You can Google it. Dharma Relief 2. Or just Dharma Relief. Discover it. So hopefully, this is a little plug. Support, right? Come out of our own individual small circle and see what needs to be done in the world that we live in and what can be done. Each of you can do something for the benefit of all. So tap into your wisdom and compassion and allow that to flourish. Okay. Have a good night.